Fairly straightforward process. All we do is reach in, we grab it, we pull up on it, and we take it out. That's it. Now, if you can look down in here, set this motor to the side for a quick second. There are magnets in it, so we don't want to set it near anything that it can pick up metal pieces. If you look down in here, though, this is the two pickup rods that we saw when we took the bottom off. This is the plate for the pickups. So this is what these two rods go to. These two rods run up and they come out right here. They terminate in these two things. So we're going to put some wire to this in a second. But before we do that, we have to get our motor ready, tinned up. Okay, so we have our motor out, and we're going to tin this up here a little bit. Put some wires on the connectors here. This is the negative. This is the positive. Like I said, it's DC. It doesn't really matter for most applications. If you're running a 2-motor engine, then it matters that you get the wiring correct. But in my case, I am. If you're not, it doesn't matter. So these are the two connectors for the engine, and I just want to quickly show you what these used to do. So we're going to set this back down in here for a quick second. And if you remember these two little rods right here that we took out, those two little rods used to come up and contact these contacts on the motor. And these two wires went from those rods to the pickups. Here, rods to the pickups. So the throttle was controlled through the transformer, and basically the motor was connected directly to the pickups. What we have to do in DCC operation is isolate the motor from the pickups. We need them both, but they need to go through the DCC decoder. So what we've done is, again, we've taken the rods out that contact the motor, and we're going to tin these two up and run wires out of them. We're going to tin these two up and run wires out of them, and that will isolate the motor from the contacts. Alright, so we're going to do some soldering here. For those of you who are familiar with soldering, this means nothing. But for those of you who are not, to do soldering, we have to make sure that the surfaces that we're going to solder are nice and clean. So I'm going to wipe these two little rods off here. And I'm actually going to scrape them up a little bit with my screwdriver. And that will give me a nice clean surface to work with. I'm just going to scratch these up a little bit. I only need enough to get a good solder bead on here. So I'm just going to scratch that up. I can use sandpaper or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just we want to get a good surface for us to solder to. And the same thing for our motor contacts. You can see sort of how, well, maybe you can't. You can see how faded those are. We just need to pop those back up, clean them off. You know, again, we just need a little bit to get a good solder bead on there. So that'll be fine there, and this will be fine here. Okay, and you can see that. All right. Station. Now this is solder, low heat solder that has the flux already built into it. If you have solder that doesn't have flux and you do it separately, you're going to need to put some flux on here beforehand. All we're going to do is heat up our little rod here. Get just a touch of solder on it. That's all I want to do. Okay, outstanding. That one's done. And we're going to do the same thing for our motor contacts. So what I like to do here is once I got a bead that's taken, I like to reheat it and just scratch. And you'll see that how well it sticks to the copper. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing on here. Okay, we're going to heat up here. And that's it. Okay, both of those are tinned up nicely. And now we gotta get some wires ready. So we'll get those next. Okay, so what I've chosen as far as wire, this is a 16 gauge 4-wire set, red, green, black, white. I don't necessarily like the order of the colors because I like to use the black and white for my pickups and the red and green for my motor contacts. I'm still going to do that here, but I'm going to have to cross these wires up a little bit because they sit together. I'd really like to have the black and white on the outside. So I'm just going to strip this baby, strip the wires out, make them all separate wires. Okay, so now I have 4 separate wires. You can see that there. Now, a little trick that I use to strip these wires down is I take my hot soldering iron, melt away, and just pull this off. Okay, now, not sure if you can really see that, but I use solid core wires. It really is a preference thing. I use solid core wire just because it's a bit more rigid than meshed wire. Okay, so we got 4 stripped wires there, and like I said, we're going to use the black and red for the pickups. I mean, not for the pickups, for the motor, and we're going to use the red and green for the motor, and the black and white for the track pickups. So we're going to get those soldered in now. Okay, so the first thing I got to do is just tin this baby up a little bit. Now you notice that I tinned down the wire a little bit. That's simply because I'm gonna snip these off. I only want a very small amount of wire actually contacting the motor there. It's a small solder point. All right, so red side, there's our piece of tape. Red and white, black and green. So the red is going to go to the red side of the motor. Green side is going to go to the black. Black's going to go to the black side of the pickups, and the white's going to go to the red side of the pickups. Alright, so let's get these situated. Let's get that so you can. And there you go. Those are in. And we're going to solder the motor connectors in. I need to pull myself a little bit of slack here. Allow myself a little bit of slack there. Off of there. Now the problem that you run into with solid core wire is it should not be flexed too much. So we're going to get this baby right through there. We're going to put red to red. And you can see that's done. Put green to black here. Okay. And that's it. That is wired. We'll put this back in. And all is right with the world. Red side, tape side, red and white together, black and green together. Now the only thing that I want to check here is to make sure, because these rods are pretty long, and we added a little solder down in there, so we just want to make sure that nothing is contacting anything in there or has the opportunity to contact anything. If it does, we just give it a little bend. Bend it out of the way.